Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Always remember to pray going out, pray coming in, and always remember God is in control every time. It was difficult to bring the show to you tonight. I've been going through a lot of illness. I was sick, still sick. I'm recovering, and I've been off the air for a week. But, you know, the devil is a liar. I'm God's soldier. And we said we got to persevere every time because God is in control. And remember this, it's hard, but you got to find a way. Keep your faith strong in Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy. And I say this, it was tough bringing the show to you tonight. You know, after going through the illness, my little daughter Giovanna, she has a bead stuck in her nose down in Jamaica. And you know, things get in the way, and we say we got to pray. And we're seeking a surgery to get that bead out of her nose. She's just over 2 years old. And, you know, God is in control. We're going to get it done. So I'm calling on some great friends and family so that we can get it done in Kingston sometime tomorrow. Mandeville Hospital, the doctors said they can't do anything. The hospital has to do it. Mandeville Hospital is overrun with patients from down west of Jamaica, from Black River to, you know, all the way around to Montego Bay. They're inundated with patients. Patients have been spread east to get medical attention, so it's been overrun. And this is an emergency for my daughter. She's just over 2 years old. So we're actively, and I'm waiting on the phone to ring tonight to see if we can get her that medical help to get that bead out of her nose. But God is in control, ladies and gentlemen. So tonight, as we normally do, we're going to start with a prayer, and let's get to it. You know, God is always in control. So let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, it's been some testing times, we call it. And these testing times test your faith in Jesus Christ. Just remember that. And prayer, we're going to give a prayer for strength tonight. So let's get to it. Let me share that with you so we can get to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm off location. I'm not in the studio, as you can see. And I'm not too sure how things are going with the audio. So tell me in the comment section. On my end, the levels are saying that we have audio streaming to you. But if you can hear me, just give a thumbs up or a yes in the comment section so I know you're hearing me live. As I said, I'm not in the studio tonight, but I had to come on live after a week of absence. I apologize, but I've been very ill, and things get in the way, but we still find a way. So let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with a prayer, and we'll move on from there. Let's go. Let's start the show.
Strength in the valley. Dear God, thank you for being with me, even in the deepest valleys of my life. Thank you for understanding the heaviness that I carry and the pain I don't always have the words to express. You see the tears I cry when I'm alone and the moments when my strength feels completely gone. But even here, in the lowest places, you are still God. Your word in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29 says, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. And God, that's exactly what I need. Some days I feel too tired to keep going. I don't have the answers. I don't have the energy, but but I know that you are walking beside me. When I can't fly, you carry me. When I can't run, you walk with me. Thank you for not rushing me through my healing. Thank you for giving me strength in the waiting. Thank you for lifting my eyes to see that I'm not alone in this valley. You are everlasting. You are faithful. You are the one who never grows tired or weary. So I surrender this heaviness to you. I give you my grief, my worry, and my anxiety. Give me supernatural strength today. Let me rise again, not in my own ability, but through the power of your presence. I believe that you are working, even when I don't see it. Even in this valley, you are leading me forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, ladies and gentlemen, and I say amen again. It is it is awesome when you keep your faith strong in Jesus Christ. So like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Let me give you a little bit more inspiration. I like to give inspiration in tough, especially given that these are tough times and it's testing times that we're in right now. And you got to recognize and strengthen your faith in Jesus Christ. It is amazing when you bend your knees and give your all over to Jesus Christ. It's amazing because he answers prayers. Maybe not in your time, or he may send the blessings, but you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. You know what I mean? So it may not be what you want, but it is the avenue to open the doors to your real blessing if you know what small mercies are. So let's go. Let's give you a little bit more inspiration so we can move on with the show. Here we go.
God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. Whether it's the creator, the universe, or life, he'll put hardships and obstacles in your path. You'll need to become who you're meant to be. If you're watching this video, it's not a coincidence. God has an important message for you. There will be times when you wonder what you've done to deserve this, when you'll be overwhelmed by the suffering that comes into your life and makes you want to quit. But always remember that the hardest moments are actually the ones that you will learn from the most. Embrace these moments because God is teaching you how to stay resilient and persevere in life. You never realize how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. Soon you will realize that some of your greatest pains will become your greatest strengths. God gives his hardest battles to his
Let's hear that
strongest
again,
soldiers.
ladies and gentlemen.
Whether it's the creator, the universe, or life, he'll put hardships and obstacles in your path. You'll need to become who you're meant to be. If you're watching this video, it's not a coincidence. God has an important message for you. There will be times when you wonder what you've done to deserve this, when you'll be overwhelmed by the suffering that comes into your life and makes you want to quit. But always remember that the hardest moments are actually the ones that you will learn from the most. Embrace these moments because God is teaching you how to stay resilient and persevere in life. You never realize how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. Soon you will realize that some of your greatest pains will become your greatest strengths. God,
I'm telling you, that is absolutely true. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. You know, I want to also, coin an anthem for Naram Promotions because this last week has taught me a lot that I've seen in the past, but it's a lesson, a life lesson. I call it life lessons. And I said, I was coming across this music video that befits what my thought process was at the time this past week when I'm going through what the events of this week, because when you're down, a lot of people count you out. Nobody's or well, a lot of people do not seem to want to even interact with you because you're down. I was ill, And even some of my closest did not even ask how you're doing. It's amazing, when you're down. And when you care for a lot of people, it hits hard. But always remember, keep your faith strong in Jesus Christ, because that's your rock, your strength. And that's how you persevere and overcome and grow stronger. Because I tell you, my faith is in Jesus Christ, and I'm strong as a rock. I'm God's soldier. So here we go. Let me give you the new anthem of RAMP Promotions, and you'll understand what I mean when you hear this. Let's go. Let's share this with you. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to share this with you. This is now the new anthem, and I got to kind of narrate in between because I've got to contact the owner of the song so that we can play it in its entirety without being disturbed. But I can do snippets of this so we don't have a copyright infringement. So this is now the new anthem, and I say this strongly. Listen to the words, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious. Me, the new anthem of RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. This week has taught me a valuable lesson, and I've moved to another level on this. I say welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Welcome. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell, because I'm telling you, it's amazing what you can achieve if you only believe in Jesus Christ. Let's go. It's going to be a beautiful show tonight. And I'm saying this, hats off to you. It's going to be like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, there was a brother, one of my followers, who made a comment in the comment section, and I was reading this about a week ago. I was on a week ago Saturday, just over a week ago, and he sent me a comment, and I have to address this. So give me a moment. Let me find it and put it on the screen, because I did not get a chance to complete my script for tonight. However, I did just a quick shot of it, and I wanted to bring this to you because I have to address this the person who sent this in, and it was absolutely necessary that I bring this to the fore. So let's get it on the screen, and I'm trying to get it up here. So just bear with me a second while I get it up. And I was very drawn back as to what is this person really wanting. What is he really saying, or is this person really thinking of what is really going on in Jamaica at this moment in time? Because it's amazing what what has happened since October 28th. And if you don't understand what went on in Jamaica on October 28th, then you should really do your research. And this person just, off the cuff, made some frivolous comments. And I want to address that. Not frivolous. I'm not going to say frivolous. I'm going to say the person just spoke, out of, patriotism. Let's put it that way. Let's say the person spoke out of patriotism for Jamaica, but really did not understand the words they put across and what actually it means to say what they said. So I want to bring it to you. Let me see if I can get it up here because it's in the wrong format. And I'm hoping, yep, there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me kind of bring it into perspective. So this was a let me bring that to you. Okay, so I lost my screen there just a moment ago. Let's bring it back on the screen. And I want to explain to you what exactly this person is saying. And I'm going to respond to this respectfully for the gentleman who or the person who made this. He said, please take down this video. That was the last video I did. There are crucial inaccuracies in your comments. You said 2/3 of Jamaica is damaged and the other one third is hailing. Not true. Jamaica will start to accept tourists by mid-December. Your fake news will put this in jeopardy. The eye of the hurricane went across Jamaica in the west and about 20 miles wide area of destruction. Jamaica is 145 miles long. The extreme west, Negril, is not badly damaged. Negril is open for business. It's a major tourist location. The rest of Jamaica was not badly at all. This must be understood. The real problem is the town of Black River is totally destroyed. The same for houses in the destruction zone. Do this correction and replace this video. Someone else comment, we need your help around the world as their life you guys send to Jamaica is all into Prime Minister pocket. Opposition and all their friends, the people, get none away from entertainers and people of God that turn up. We get nothing. Shame, shame, shame. They want to shut up. Help, shame, shame. Okay, so I'm going to address both comments respectfully. Now, when I said 2/3 of Jamaica is devastated and the other 1/3 is ailing and trying to figure things out, you got to understand that destruction doesn't mean only that properties were only damaged. And if you check the 14 parishes, and I've spoken to many people around the 14 parishes, and in every parish, there was some form of damage. So therefore, in addition to that, the commerce of Jamaica has been damaged as well. The normal day-to-day running of the economics of Jamaica was also damaged, and that in itself creates a domino effect. So when I say 2/3 of the country is damaged, you got to understand that not only was there physical damage, there was also financial damage, and there was also economic damage. So the 1/3, that's the east, that was not so much damaged, has to be figuring things out for the entire Jamaica. So therefore, even though there are pockets of areas that will accommodate tourists, you can understand that these areas are going to be have to figure out their plan to accommodate the bulk of people who are disenfranchised from the rest of the country. You got to understand also that Jamaica, why we had so much a large response from around the world, and you'll see as we continue this video why we had such a large response is because the enormity of the devastation supersedes what you're saying. So I will not take down the video because it will not hurt Jamaica. It will help Jamaica because we're appealing to the world to continue to aid Jamaica in its recovery. If you have not been there on the ground, you will never understand the enormity of the damage from a Category 5 hurricane that has never seen land anywhere in the world. It's the first time it was historic. So even though you're concentrating your comments on the areas where the eye of the hurricane hit, just remember the entire country suffered. And I do respect that you are on the show. I do respect your comments, and I thank you for your comments. And I'm responding to you as as a courtesy because I respect all my audience. And I hope you continue to watch the show. And we say thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. The gentleman who, the person who also made the second comment, you should also realize that not only celebrities entered Jamaica to help, there was a lot of people, but you can also understand the large undertaking of Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And we say hats off to him and we salute him because when you're running a country and you have all the people of the country under your wings and in your hands, he's got to make some serious decisions. And he has been doing that all the way. And we say, this is not about politics, it's about the people of Jamaica, and it's about Jamaica in general. He has been doing a marvelous job, and I'm going to point that out to you. So whether you're PNP or JLP, it doesn't matter. You're Jamaican first. And he has been working assiduously to help Jamaica, and I'm going to show you what he has done, and Jamaica is going to build back better and stronger. All I'm saying to the opposition leader, get with the program and get up to speed because somehow you're falling behind. So join hands and let's rebuild Jamaica stronger and better than before. So the person who commented, the government is taking a measured approach to help every citizen of Jamaica. And it's evident from what he's doing. And I'll show you as we go along because it's going to be a long show. So buckle up and let's go. So let's remove this from the screen. I also gathered some information that is easily accessible to each and every one in the world. It's on Google. It says here, while an exact single percentage for the entire island physical area isn't provided in reports, official estimates indicate that roughly 1/3 of the country was significantly impacted, with the total physical damage valued at approximately 41% of its 2024 GDP. The storm made landfall as a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane in late 2025, October 2025, primarily devastating the western parishes of Jamaica. Extent of the damage. The damage was extensive, particularly in the western regions of the island, which bore the brunt of the storm's 185 miles per hour winds. And I said in my last podcast that that's where the scale stopped. They stopped measuring from there because you had wind gusts far exceeding, based on my research, far exceeding 250 miles an hour. So that was bigger than a Category 5 in my estimation, because my research tells me that a Category 5 is at 155 miles per hour wind. This was measured at 185 when they stopped measuring. The sheer scale of the devastation makes Hurricane Melissa the costliest hurricane in Jamaica's recorded history. The parishes it went into the parishes as well. So you can understand the magnitude of what happened in Jamaica. And please, ladies and gentlemen, you know, think carefully. Think carefully. This is huge. It was historic, and so was the response. So therefore, as we move along, and let's get that off my screen. Remove, and here we go. So as we move along, Jamaica has been resilient. And the people, I must say, hats off to them. Although there is a lot of frustration, or is a lot of frustration, there was a lot of relief going on. And we're going to move away from the relief. This is my last show talking about relief for Jamaica, because you got to continue to send your relief, but now Jamaica is in a recovery mode. All right. So while I'm there, let me pause to send condolences to a family member. That's Mr. Leon Lloyd, who lost his grandmother in Downs District in Manchester. Mr. Leon Lloyd, his grandmother passed away. We call her Auntie Esmond. She has been close to me, and she's very dear to me. And we say, God gave her wings, and we pray for her soul. So we got to say hats off to Mr. Leon Lloyd. Also, we're going to big up DJ Latta, who's out there in the world taking care of business, and hopefully he'll be back on the show whenever he can. We can't say he's going to be back here permanently. He has a lot of stuff he has to take care of, so he'll be in and out whenever he can. And we say hats off to his family and also his friends and companions. So I wanted to share this with you. Jamaica has been absolutely resilient amidst the devastation that happened to Jamaica. And I wanted to show you this of how, celebrities came in. I can't do all the celebrities. It's a short show. This show is too short for that. But I just wanted to show you this picture, how it resonated with a lot of people around the world. How people of Jamaica are so resilient, and the people of the world, how they respect the people of Jamaica. They turned up to help. So let's just dive into this. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. It's so befitting for this moment here. So as you can see, everybody pitched in from land, sea, and air, and around the world. I would say thank you to each and every one who's doing all they can to help the people of Jamaica. It's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. And I say it's a beautiful thing. And we say hats off to the government of Jamaica for making it a beautiful experience, even though we're amongst tragedy. And I say this, let's check this out. Let's look at some of the things that some of the countries that responded. United States was one of the first ones who dived in, and let's show you, just remind you of what they did. And it's amazing, all the countries, all the people who dived in and helped Jamaica in its, you know, the darkest moment is amazing. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
This government, U.S. Embassy, we stand with the people of Jamaica. I'm standing with them right now. You may have heard over the last few days, President Trump and Secretary Rubio expressed their strong support for Jamaica. As the minister alluded to, this is the first concrete example of that in terms of we're sending in not only aid on this plane, but also experts. You'll see 40 or 50 people come off of this plane, including Fairfax County Fire Rescue, search and rescue experts, because we're here to help the people of Jamaica recover from this devastating hurricane. And I hope to be out here all week long greeting other shipments as they come in.
We have already received 12 relief flights today, and the day is not over yet. We are really thankful for this huge shipment on this huge plane that has arrived here, courtesy of the U.S. government. And I'm understanding that there's many more to come, including a number of assets, meaning helicopter assets, that can act as hospitals and also search and rescue and distribution. So this is great news, and I want to just send a signal of reassurance and confidence to the people of Jamaica, some of who feel that nothing is happening. It's been 24 hours, 36 hours since the hurricane. So we are moving as fast as possible, but obviously logistics are always a challenge in the height and aftermath of a disaster. But this has given me great reassurance that the world loves us, loves Jamaica, and obviously is going to do everything to help us to rebuild as quickly as possible. I want to thank the U.S. government, charge of affairs, very much for all of this, and we look forward to seeing what's coming out of this play now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it has been an enormous response, and the U.S. government was one of the first. So let's check out, let's look at it from a different perspective as we chart our way through all of this. So here we go. Let me share this with you. These are just reminders of how of the response of some of the countries that have stepped in to help Jamaica in the darkest time and in the earliest moments of the disaster. So let's go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
3 advanced helicopters from the United States government arrived in the island today as part of the relief and recovery efforts. As Jamila Maitland reports, it's the first of several humanitarian aid following Hurricane Melissa.
U.S. soldiers arriving at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston on Friday on the CH-47 Chinook. It's a heavy-duty multi-mission helicopter that carries cargo and transports troops, but it also helps in search and rescue, casualty evacuation, humanitarian and disaster relief, among other things. Scott Renner is chargé d'affaires at the U.S. Embassy.
Behind me is one of the examples of that. These are very large lift helicopters, up to 11,000 pounds they can carry, and they're going to be working shoulder to shoulder with the JDF to get supplies out to the Jamaican people who we know are in desperate need.
Minister of Transport Darrell Vass said the U.S. government has committed to providing 5 more helicopters.
This is 3 of 8. We're hoping that by tomorrow, the balance will be here, if not latest the weekend. And of course, these 3 will be out to work tomorrow morning. I've been assured by the charge that tomorrow morning, in conjunction with the Jamaica Defense Force, they'll be taking supplies down for distribution, widespread distribution to all the affected communities in Western Jamaica.
Minister Vance says transportation by land is difficult because some roads are still impassable. And so, traveling by air is the best option now. The issue is that there are not enough helicopters available locally. Minister Vance, who is co-chair of the recently established Relief and Recovery Committee announced by Cabinet, revealed that some private and charitable organizations have committed to assisting the government in this regard. As to how soon government aid will start reaching those impacted, he wasn't able to say, only that they're working as fast as they can.
And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, these are just snippets of what the countries. So in response to the gentleman who made the comment, there's a reason why so many countries responded to Jamaica, because as I said, 2/3 of the country was affected, and the other 1/3 that's also affected is reeling in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. So if you think about it, let's check out this other video so we can understand exactly the response of some of the major nations around the world who responded. And here we go. This is another one. This is the UK. Let's check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
According to Reuters, the United Kingdom has announced more than $3 million in emergency aid to support recovery efforts in the Caribbean following Hurricane Melissa. According to the British government, the £2.5 million relief package will prioritize assistance for Jamaica, one of the hardest hit nations by the historic Category 4 storm.
And as you heard, it was historic in nature. That they did not say that lightly in the international community. Neither am I saying it lightly on RAMP Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Let's listen.
The aid includes rapid delivery of shelter kits, water filters, and blankets to prevent further injury and disease outbreaks. Supplies pre-positioned in Antigua are now being deployed across the affected areas. Foreign Minister Yvette Cooper said specialist rapid deployment teams are working around the clock to assist British nationals impacted by the hurricane, while a Royal Navy ship remains on standby to support relief operations. Britain's Ministry of Defense has also dispatched a team to the Turks and Caicos Islands to strengthen regional disaster management efforts. Hurricane Melissa struck Cuba early Wednesday after leaving a trail of destruction across Jamaica, marking the strongest storm ever recorded in the country's history.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the UK, and I'm giving you snippets just to remind some of us who has never been on the island since the devastation to make those comments. You know, I understand and I respect your comments, but I'm responding to them accordingly. So let's look at France. In Europe, as far back as Europe, that was the UK. Let's check out France. We talk about the US, and we're going to come back to the Caribbean in a second. So here we go. Let's just remind you so you can understand the devastation that Jamaica went through during this tough time. So it was enormous. Here we go. Let's go. Here we go, ladies. This was France. And as you can see, arrival of supplies from France. This is another major country that also responded to the devastation in Jamaica. And if you think that Jamaica was only damaged in certain areas and that was it, think again. As I said, it's not just physical damage, it's financial damage and economic damage. So 2/3 of Jamaica was affected. And if you really think about it, the entire Jamaica was affected. Think about it carefully. As this was France, so I touched the US, the UK, and this is France. Let's check it out. Let's check out something, another one again. Let me help you to understand my statement, what came to the fore when I was talking. All right. So let's go back closer to home. This was El Salvador. El Salvador dispatched humanitarian aid, also relief personnel, and also a lot more they provided to the country. Here we go. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This was El Salvador. Check it out. So you understand. These, I think it was just around or over 200 relief workers in the country as the first responders, just like the U.S., UK, Canada, and also El Salvador. We're talking about massive response around the world because of devastation. So you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this was not normal. So when I say 2/3 of Jamaica was devastated and the other 1/3 was left reeling in the aftermath, you got to understand that the entire country suffered in its entirety. So you got to keep that relief and also recovery help to Jamaica coming, because it's going to take years to recover. All right. So even though parts of the country will receive tourists, as the gentleman rightfully said, yes, parts of the country have recovered, but the entire country has suffered. And that means the GDP is down. So you can understand when you talk about the GDP, that's the lifeblood of Jamaica. That helps us, the poor man and the rich man, and in between. So therefore, when you stop the blood flow of Jamaica, then limbs will start to fall off if you don't begin to administer help. You get what I'm saying? So let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go a little bit deeper, and let's look at CARICOM. Now, CARICOM leaders came to Jamaica, and let me kind of give you an understanding of what that means. When the leaders of countries, and this is CARICOM leaders, came to Jamaica because to show solidarity, it's not because a little portion of Jamaica got damaged. It's because the entire country of Jamaica suffered. They did not just come here for no reason. And let's check this out, so you understand what that means. This is total devastation. So the CARICOM leaders, let's take that off, joined the Prime Minister of Jamaica to show solidarity and support. Even the World Bank sent their agents to Jamaica to show solidarity, to pledge help to Jamaica. And we say hats off to the government of Jamaica and the leadership of Jamaica. That's Andrew Holness in how he's handling the affairs of Jamaica. You got to give him kudos and salute him for his temperament and also his measure in dealing with the devastation and the affairs of Jamaica. This was years in the becoming, and they have made contingencies for things like this, even though it's far beyond those contingencies, but the world stepped in. And when you have the World Bank and CARICOM and other major countries around the world sending their agents and their leaders to Jamaica to show solidarity, what do you think? Because only a portion of the country was damaged? Think again. So let's check out another video so you can understand all of this I'm doing is just to share with you what really happened and why I said what I said. Now, if you have other major country like China sending, let me share this with you before I speak. Let's share this, and then I'll, jump in and speak after that. But check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here we go.
Missions filled with love and care.
Journeys bring peace to the world.
The PLA Navy's Peace Ark takes China's advanced medical services across the oceans.
We hop onto this maritime hospital ship and dive into stories along the way.
Or look at the courage, the touching moments, and the excitement.
How the Chinese military builds friendship around the globe.
It's in Jamaican waters.
The Chinese hospital ship, the Ark Silk Road, arrived in Jamaica's territorial waters on November 22nd and is now anchored at the Pedro Keys. It will relocate to the Falmouth Pier this weekend. A total of 104 medical professionals are on board, including 60 doctors, 32 nurses, pharmacists, and technicians.
The truth is, not every child.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Health Minister, Christopher Tufton. We were in the same, we went to high school together at Manchester High School, Christopher Tufton and I. We're in the same class, and we were rivals in terms of debate rivals, and also school prefect, and also I was class prefect as well. So our history goes deep. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can understand when major nations, you get in the news that the U.S. and the Russia and China are at a war, or global economic war. Nothing like that. Don't follow the foolishness. You have great leaders around the world, and you have the U.S., you have China, you have France, you have England, you have the CARICOM nations, you have Caribbean nations who came to the aid of Jamaica all at once. So you tell me, is there a rift between these countries? I don't think so. They came to the aid of Jamaica because of the leadership of Jamaica. Sir Andrew Holness, hats off to him. He's been leading by example. The world came to Jamaica in aid of Jamaica, and they came to it big time, including the World Bank. I'll show you in a second what I mean. So let's check this out. This is what the World Bank did. And they're saying about the early estimates are about $9 billion in damage or recovery money that's needed. The world has contributed, but the World Bank stepped up big time and closed that gap. Jamaica still needs your help to recover because there's a major gap to fill. But I need to show you this. And this is all kudos to the careful leadership of the country of Jamaica. That's Andrew Holness and the Jamaica government. What they have done has given the World Bank confidence, 95% confidence, that they have to have Jamaica recover and recover stronger than ever. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This is amazing, and we say hats off to the government of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica. Here we go.
Jamaica's recovery plans are getting a major boost. More than $6 billion has been pledged in assistance from leading international financial institutions. David Thomas has the details.
To receive a massive international support package of up to $6.7 billion over the next 3 years to aid recovery and reconstruction following Hurricane Melissa. The fund comes from 5 major institutions: the World Bank Group, International Monetary Fund, International American Development Bank, Caribbean Development Bank, and CAF at the request of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The package combines emergency financing, grants, and private sector investment. payments. But with the national damage estimated at $8.8 billion US dollars, that's equivalent to 41% of the country's 2024 GDP, the road to recovery will require sustained investment. Therefore, over the next 3 years, $3.6 billion US dollars could also be provided to support national reconstruction. This includes up to $1 billion US dollars each from the CAF and the World Bank, $1 billion US dollars from IDB, $200 million US dollars from the CDB, and $450 million US dollars from the IMF through its rapid financing instrument. This unified response aims to help Jamaica rebuild responsibly and strengthen Jamaica's resilience against future disasters. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has announced that a body, the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, will be established under law to lead the reconstruction. Deidre Thomas, TVJ News.
So, as you heard, ladies and gentlemen, that's amazing, and that shows the resilience of and also the leadership of a man, Dr. Andrew Holness. He has led Jamaica in the right direction. So, you know, I'm going to ask Cliff Hughes to comment on that, because I echo what he is saying. He's saying, here we go. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out.
Hug it up, tough luck. That is the reality. That is performance. That is management. In 33 days, less than 5 weeks, the IMF, the multilateral institutions, are announcing that because of Jamaica's track record of fiscal prudence, they have already committed nearly US $7 billion of the US $9 billion that Jamaica will need over the next 3 to 5 years to rebuild after Melissa. That is an outstanding vote of confidence in Jamaica and the administration of Andrew Michael Holness.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is not only my words, it's the words of critics around the world. And also, it is testament to the government's efforts to bring Jamaica to the forefront. We gotta say this to all Jamaicans: you're Jamaicans first. You're not JLP or PNP. You're Jamaicans. And when someone is doing good, you gotta give them their flowers and their accolades. Sir Andrew Holness is doing a great job. And if he didn't, then all these help will never have been materialized. Believe me, I'm not the only one saying that. Check this out. I'm saying to the opposition government, get up to speed. Get out of the old political foolishness and unite and get with the program. Poor people are suffering in Jamaica. They need help, and it's going to take years for that to happen. Andrew Holness is leading the country. Join hands and help the people. When the elections come, then we can differentiate your objectives from the other objectives. So be it. And I don't support, well, let's leave that alone. So therefore, it is now time to unite and help the people of Jamaica, because we're saying this to everyone in Jamaica, that you're Jamaican first. And you only know that when these devastations come around. So just join hands, help those who can't help themselves, and just be mindful that, look, Jamaica first. Okay? And that's what the Prime Minister is saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out another video. Let's check this out. This is from Dean Jackson Miller. And this is a message to a certain faction of the Jamaican government. Check this out. I wanted to share this with you, and you tell me what you think in the comments section from what Dean Jackson Miller said. Here we go.
She's not holding back.
Here we go.
In her latest video, Dion said the PNP can't keep relying on old-time politics.
Let's check this out.
She says it's Deon Jackson Miller not playing. She just called out Mark Golding in the PNP, and trust me, she's not holding back. In her latest video, Dion said the PNP can't keep relying on old-time politics. She says it's time for real reform, real leadership, and a real connection with the people. According to her, if the party doesn't change, Jamaica will simply move on without them. She called it a wake-up call, not an attack, but a warning. What you think, Jamaica? Tell me in the comments, and make sure you check out the full video now on Mishy Deck's commentary.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you understand where I'm coming from, that this is not a time for partisan politics. It's a time for unity. It's a time for strength. It's a time to join hands and build back stronger and better than before. It's only in everybody's interest to do so, because if you bicker amongst yourself, argue amongst yourself, then everything will fall apart. Jamaica is going to build back stronger and better than before. As you can see, trust me, in 5 years, you will not recognize how advanced Jamaica is going to be. It is prime time for to join hands and be a part of the solution rather than the problem. Here we go. So let's check out another video. You know, this is Mommy Bay in St. Anne's, Jamaica. I want to show you some of what is going on down there. And this is amazing because these are some of the strongest buildings in Jamaica. And this was prior to the hurricane, and it's going to be amazing because you're going to see a lot more of these developments across the island. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check that out.
At one of the newest and most talked about developments in St. Anne. This is the Emerald Rowing River, located right here in the Miami Bay area. This project sits in one of Jamaica's fastest growing resort and residential corridors, just minutes away from Ocherius, Duns River Falls, and the North Coast Highway. The Emerald Rowing River is a modern river-themed residential and lifestyle development designed to take advantage of the natural watercourses flowing through Miami Bay. So it's a mixed-use community featuring residential units, landscaped river features, green spaces, and recreational amenities. It aims to blend nature, sustainability, modern architecture, focusing heavily on the natural rowing river systems that run through the property. So one of the major focus areas is drainage and water management. Because the project revolves around the natural rowing river, engineers are implementing channels, retention basins, and reinforced embankments to guide water flow safely through the property.
So everything is being considered with these new developments. And moving forward, there's going to be, according to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, there's going to be considerations for all these damages that the hurricane created. So they're going to mitigate a lot of those risks with the new development. So things are changing. So it's not business as usual. Here we go. So let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here, let me while that is going on, there's history being made at the same time by members of Jamaica across the globe. So I wanted to share that with you to show you how resilient the Jamaican people are, and also why Jamaica is so strong across the globe. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
There are moments in sports that make the whole world stop. Moments where the underdog rises, where history rewrites itself, and where a nation thousands of miles away from the cold proves that heart beats climate every single time. And this is one of those moments. Because in Whistler, Canada, on one of the fastest, most dangerous, and most unforgiving bobsled tracks on the planet, Jamaica didn't just show up, they took over. They walked away with not one but 2 medals, 1 gold, and 1 bronze, a Caribbean shockwave that the world absolutely did not see coming. Whistler is no joke. This isn't some beginner's slope. It's the same icy monster built for Olympic competition. It's steep, it's brutal, and it's a place where only the world's most elite athletes can even survive, let alone win. But on this chilling Canadian track, a team from a warm Caribbean island, an island where the closest thing to snow is shaved ice in a syrup bottle, came to make history. Jamaica arrived determined, disciplined, and carrying the hopes of a proud nation on their shoulders. The main event was the 4-man bobsleigh, the flagship race. It's the one everyone watches, the one where raw speed, explosive power, flawless precision, and unbreakable teamwork all have to collide in a perfect storm. Team Jamaica loaded into their sled. The tension was palpable. The whistle blew, and then, boom! They exploded off the start line with a push so powerful, so aggressive, the entire venue reacted with a collective gasp. Down the Whistler ice they flew, a blur of green, black, and gold. Their run was clean, it was tight, they were completely locked in. Every single curve was taken with absolute perfection. Every turn was surgical. Every shaved millisecond made the announcers lean closer to their microphones, their voices filled with disbelief. By the time they hurtled across that finish line, Jamaica was in first place. They had set a time that no other team could beat. A new chapter had just been written. A gold medal had been earned, and history had been made. This was
So you understand the resilience of the Jamaican people. Imagine coming from a tropical island and you have 1 gold in a winter sport. Hats off to Jamaica and the Jamaican people. And we say salute the Jamaican people for those achievements, even amidst the devastation. And I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, it is not ordinary. So you can understand at this moment in time, hold on a second, let me get this off my screen. Yeah. So, I want to mention this, that this is the last show I'm going to talk about relief. We're going to mention recovery, because you got to continue to support the recovery effort. But I'm not going to talk about relief anymore. This show is done with that. The recovery effort of Jamaica is ongoing, and it's going to be ongoing for a while. And you got to continue to contribute to the recovery effort of Jamaica and the recovery of the people of Jamaica. Jamaican people are very independent. All you got to do is just help them in the right direction in this downtime. Help them to set back up their businesses, their homes, and so on, and everything is going to be okay, because they won't rely on the rest of the world to maintain themselves. They're not lazy. They're very proud people. But when you have devastation, just as any other nation that has devastation, Jamaica will respond to help them. Jamaica needs your help right now to recover. So keep it coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last show I'm going to touch on that. So for this next hour, I'm going to talk about U.S. immigration, because things have changed, and changed in a major way. There's changes coming down the pipe since September of this year or July of this year. And there's more changes coming before the year is out. So President Donald Trump is not playing around. He's not. So those who used to skirt around the laws, the immigration laws of the United States, they have done various things that have broken the law. Those days are over. And if you check my previous podcast, you will see that now is not the time to take risks. So those who came here and worked on their visitor's visa not overstayed, but they stayed longer than what they told those agents in the airport. All these things are being scrutinized. There's travel bans that have been implemented from major countries around the world who have exported terrorists to the United States to harm U.S. citizens. Those who have imported drugs to the country, those who have committed crimes in the United States, they're being deported, and even their citizenships are under scrutiny. The time now is not to make a mistake, but to walk that straight line and get in line and do the right. Don't do the wrong. Things are not business as usual as when President Biden was in power or even President Obama was in power. There's a new sheriff in town. He's cleaning house because the waste, fraud, and abuse is so big that they have to clean up, because you can only endure so much and no more. Billions and trillions of US dollars have been abused by fraud and waste, and they're cleaning it up. So the immigration section of the country, they're now looking at each and every one in a very microscopic way to see if there's any indication that you will come to the United States to create fraud, waste, and abuse, and also criminal activities. This is only natural when you have so much historical records of voter fraud. People come to the United States and vote, and they're not U.S. citizens. They vote by fraud. And it's now proven that even dead people or on the death records, it's now proven that these people are now on the voter roll and they have voted. They're dead. It is now proven that immigrants who are not lawfully in the country or they are not citizens have voted. I've been mentioning this in the past, and a lot of people laugh at me. And this is why the President of the United States has to step in and put his foot down. Red, white, and blue runs through my veins because I have allegiance to the United States. And if you're in a country that you have allegiance and you come here and you violate the laws of the United States, I have an obligation to report it. So what do you think is happening now? As I said in previous podcasts, that it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse because they're now looking at even naturalized citizens, green card holders, successful applicants who have visas, visitors visas. They're scrutinizing everything. They've also began to look at even those who applied for asylum. They've cut off the processing of asylum applicants because they now have to vet them in a more serious way because millions of people walked through the border under President Biden. They abused that privilege and come to the country, created crimes, and also murdered, or we say MURDERED, to soldiers serving the United States. Now, I can never agree with that. Elon Omar, a senator, I believe a senator, correct me if I'm wrong, who spoke out against the United States, is now under scrutiny. Because the question is, which country do you owe allegiance to? When the country of Somalia is now under investigation for those of their nationals who are here in the country of the United States, who have filtered billions of US dollars and taxpayers' money over to Somalia on the false and fraud pretenses. That is now being investigated. And I can say this because it's all over the internet. If I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong. But it is now being investigated by the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the President of the United States has commented on that. Tell me something. If somebody comes to your home, eats your food, shits all over your place, trashes your place, what are you going to do? Sit by and let them do it? Hats off to President Donald Trump for stepping in, putting his foot down and say, law and order must prevail and common sense must prevail. No matter which country you're from, you're not going to allow people to shit on you, to take advantage of you, to steal your money, steal your food. There's millions of Americans who are standing by, looking on to see the abuse and fraud that others have come to the United States and created. They're driving luxury cars, they're earning millions of dollars, and even when you're collectively billions. It's all over the internet. Check it out if you think I'm lying. The president spoke about it. And that's only from one section. But think about those who have come here from all over the world, from multiple different countries, and taken advantage of the United States. And they say, okay, you live off the government of the United States, taking their tax money to do whatever you want, and you don't really need it. Or you're too lazy to work for it. Or you're too lazy to go through the process to get legally here to do the right thing. And those who are here in the United States as citizens like myself have to be paying the taxes that you're stealing. If they came to your country and your house, what would you do? If I come to your house and steal your food, take over your home, and pay no regard to you, trash you, and also trash talk you. Because a lot of people are guilty here. When they say, oh, the president of the United States is trash. United States is trash. Like, for example, Elon Omar of Somalia was granted U.S. citizenship, and she married her brother. And she's saying Americans are stupid. What? There's a saying in Jamaica, you can't stay atop a cow and cut cow. So you're in the United States enjoying the safety and security and the privilege of being here in the United States, and you're saying Americans are stupid and Americans are watching you and you're a senator? I think a senator. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Are you for real? Come on. Now, the United States is shutting down. The president of the United States said, listen, we are going to vet, we're going to stop processing from certain countries, especially third world countries. It was in the making. All the abuse, fraud, and waste caused this. He did not get up overnight and say this. It's a cause and effect. So if you abuse a certain system, if you fraud a certain system, and you steal from a certain system, and you create crimes within the country, what do you think is going to happen? Business as usual? You're going to defend criminals, fraudsters, and those who are trashing the very place that you live and you pledge allegiance to. Let common sense prevail, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a joke. Let's dive in and show you the cause and effect of those who have abused the system. And now it's time for action because things have changed in a major way. Let's go and check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Let's start here and move our way up to the closing of the show. Here we go. Let's bring this to the forefront. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the U.S. Immigration Hub. Breaking news. A sweeping shift is unfolding in Washington tonight as Congress passes one of the most far-reaching immigration reform laws in modern American history. A law that experts say will redefine the rights, responsibilities, and risks facing millions of immigrants across all 50 states. What lawmakers approved is not a small update or a procedural change. It is a structural transformation of how the United States classifies non-citizens, how it interprets public safety violations, and how it determines who gets to stay, who becomes inadmissible, and who may now face removal even without a formal conviction.
So you got to understand the tide has shifted. And it shifts forever and ever, ladies and gentlemen. It will never, ever be the same. So let's share the next video so you understand what is going on. Here we go. Let's share that with you, and we'll move on from there. Here we go.
Guards members he had put on crime patrol in Washington. Hours later, he announced a further crackdown. It was President Trump who announced the death of Specialist Beckstrom, one of the Guards members he had put on crime patrol in Washington. Hours later, he announced a further crackdown on immigration. CBS News has learned it includes a pause on all asylum decisions. Weijia Jiang is in West Palm Beach, Florida.
President Trump announced he would permanently pause migration from, quote, third world countries. He is also threatening to revoke U.S. citizenship from foreign-born Americans who undermine domestic tranquility and calling for a review of all green card holders from 19 countries of concern, including Iran, Venezuela, and Afghanistan.
So do you understand the magnitude of what has happened here? It's a domino effect. And it's a cause and effect. What got into that person's mind to murder 2 U.S. service members? Are you stupid? So all of these crimes against the United States has now come to fruition. There is a response, and a big one too. Go big or go home. You will not survive or get through this by trying to hurt the United States or its people. You're going to understand this ship is too big. So let's continue to listen to what is going on here. because this has changed the course of immigration forever and ever. Let's listen to Attorney McBean as she warns of what is going on. Here we go. Let's check this out, and then I'll comment afterwards. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about his Truth Social post and 11 big policy points that he mentioned in his most recent Truth Social post. Friends, we have some very serious things to discuss in.
And this, she's talking about the President of the United States. And this is an immigration attorney talking here. And you'll hear from also Brad Bernstein, all and other attorneys who are very careful of the words they tell you, because they know how serious this is. And you have the President of the United States. When he speaks, it moves mountains. So here we go.
Today's live session. I hope you had a terrific Thanksgiving with your family and with your friends. But be sure to share this live session with those in your circle, with your feed, because the information that we're going to discuss today is super important. Guys, I'm Latoya McBean-Pompey. For those of you who are new to me, welcome. I'm an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe in immigration freedom. As you're coming on in, type in freedom now. I see that folks are joining from McBean Immigration TV and Facebook. Thank you so much. Guys, share this with others, okay? At the end of this live session, other people will need to know about this, okay? Friends, this is one of those events that changes everything, right? I was reflecting on what happened this week with the tragic shooting that occurred on Thanksgiving Eve of the 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. And tragically, we've learned that one of them, she passed away, and she was only 20 years old. She was brutally killed by an Afghan national. And this has significant implications for immigration. But I was thinking,
you know, it's sad, and I say condolences to the families of these troops, because this should never happen on the soil of the United States or any country, that is. This is tragic, and there's no justification for this. And I hope they give that person a death penalty, because it was unprovoked. There's no justification for this. And the president acted correctly, in my estimation and my opinion. I support the President Donald Trump on his decision to do what he's doing with immigration right now. Here we go.
About all of this, and it reminded me of when 9/11 happened. Hold on for a minute. Right after 9/11, about a year later, I went to work on Capitol Hill as a young intern. And everyone in Washington, D.C. kept saying at that time, oh, 9/11 changed everything. It changed D.C. Every single person who I encountered around that time kept saying how much it had changed Washington, D.C. I think what happened this week, it feels to me similarly to how I felt back in those days, that this changes immigration, at least under this Trump 2.0. It changes immigration in a significant way, and we're going to get into it.
And rightfully so, because the abuse of the privilege of leaving your country to come here for a better life, this is not what you're supposed to do when you get to another man's country or another people's country. Embrace the privilege and also better your life. I call this a prisoner's dilemma. All of us are in this together. And if all of us work together, we can make this country stronger and better. And even the country that you're coming from can also benefit to make your country stronger and better. But if you come here for destruction, then it's time for the death penalty. Why are you coming here to kill the people of the country? It does not make sense. Why come here? Stay in your country. And I agree with the president. Here we go.
Unfortunately, the two National Guard members were killed. One was killed. One, I believe, is still in critical condition. And apparently, he was those two individuals, and I'll just pull this up here, were shot by this man here who came to the United States under President Biden's Operation Allies. Well,
so as you can see, when he came to the United States, that is quite evident. So, it's sad. Let's check out another video to show you what is really going on here. And it's not business as usual, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big, big deal. So don't think that you can just come here and it's going to be business as usual. The hell no. Here we go. So let's check this out. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel, U.S. Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about green cards frozen for 200,000 refugees as Trump orders full re-interviews. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. The Trump administration is preparing to launch an extensive reevaluation of every refugee admitted to the United States during the Biden presidency, according to a memo circulated to several media outlets on Monday. This video represents one of the most disruptive changes to the U.S. refugee program in decades, a program that traditionally offered safety and stability to people escaping violence, persecution, and political upheaval. Nearly 200,000 refugees who arrived between January 2021 and February 2025 are expected to face significant uncertainty. Advocacy groups warn that many families are likely to experience renewed fear and instability as the government reopens their cases. Legal organizations anticipate a wave of litigation, saying the plan reflects a persistent pattern of harsh treatment toward communities rebuilding their lives in America inside the new federal directive. The internal memo, signed by US's Director Joseph Edlow and dated Friday, claims that the Biden-era refugee process prioritized quantity over rigorous vetting. It announces that USCIS will conduct a complete review and, in many cases, a fresh interview of every refugee admitted during that 4-year period.
And you can understand why. Because now it's time to pony up and be subjected to additional scrutiny. And that's for the safety and protection of the citizens of the United States. It's only natural it's going to go that way. What do you think if some people said, oh, the good must not suffer for the bad? Of course you will. What you think? We're going to separate you out? Of course it's going to happen. They're going to vet across the board because too much has been going on. Waste, fraud, abuse, and criminal activities. What do you think? Because you are okay, you think you're not going to be vetted? Come on. Speak to the people from your own country that came here as immigrants and got legal. Tell them to stop doing what they're doing. Be a voice for your own community. Tell them to fall in line and be a mouse on that treadmill to add taxes to the country of the United States and to live a good life, because those taxes pay for your security and your well-being. So good schools, security, good roads, and so on and so forth. That's what it is. Because you come here for the American dream, to be secure. You don't have wars here where bombs are dropping, and also fraud and that good stuff. That President Trump is weeding it out because you have some bad actors, and for him to weed it out, he has to go across the board to everybody. What do you think? You're gonna get away? Goodness gracious me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RAMP Promotions, the Real Lead Podcast Show. Let's touch into some more U.S. immigration. U.S. immigration has changed forever and ever. Not business as usual. Not by a long shot. And they're targeting legal residents too. Check this out. Let's hear from Attorney McBean.
USCIS a few days ago issued a statement on its website called DHS Strengthens Integrity in Nation's Immigration System, Returns to Common Sense Legal Immigration Levels. Guys, one thing you need to understand is this. USCIS is being led by individuals now. If you look at their background, if you look at where they've worked before moving to USCIS in these appointed roles, you will see that these are individuals who believe in lowering the level of immigration, taking it from this number to a much lower number. And I'm talking about legal immigration here, meaning that fewer people would be approved for a visa, fewer people would flow into the United States, fewer people will become US citizens. They're trying to decrease the levels. When you hear the word levels, that's what's going on here. And that's what the big emphasis is by DHS, and USCIS, guys, is making.
So you understand the trend of the U.S. government. You understand what's going on here? Okay, let me help you out and share a little bit more from Brad Bernstein. Okay, that's one of the bigger attorneys here in the United States. Here we go. Check him out. If you think I'm wrong, check this out.
You may now be getting your visa denied at the U.S. Embassy because you're overweight. Your belt buckle is a little too big. And that's going to be an embassy counselor's decision after staring at you right at your interview for your visa. And no, this is not a joke. State Department has just updated their public charge rules and says if people are overweight, the assumption is that you will get sick in the United States and need government assistance for medical care. So overweight people are going to need to show a lot more financial documentation in order to get a visa. Otherwise, they'll be denied for being overweight. How insulting. You're fat, denied. And how ironic that there's lots of U.S. government employees interviewing you for visas that themselves need to go on a diet.
So you understand the cause and effect, right? That right now, right across the board, everything is being scrutinized. You know, it's like you touch a bee's hive or a wasp nest, you shake it, and all these wasp and bees come out, and you feel like you're not going to get sting. Come on. Some people are saying in my circles that, oh, why one person should dictate what happens to everybody. It happens because they shake the wasp nest and shake the bee's hive. So what you think is going to happen if you're in that circle? You're going to get sting. It's only natural. It's common sense. So if you behave badly online, now that they're scrutinizing your social media, remember when you trash the U.S. and say, the president is this, the president is that, and F America? It's on your website. It's there forever. Guess what happened? They say loose lips sink ships. So your loose lips gave you the denial because your opinion is now part of your forte, your history, your who you are and what you think about this country. especially if you're here and it's helping you, even naturalized citizens, they're going to scrutinize. Check this out. Let's look at some more videos about open borders and birthright citizenship. Let's check this out from Andrew Branca. He's an attorney. I think he's on the bar of the Supreme Court. Let's check him out and hear what he has to say. They've clamped down on open borders, and it's now, I think it's about time. Here we go.
16,000 visas revoked for DUI, 12,000 visas revoked for assault, and 8,000 for theft. We also know about 8,000 student visas for foreign students studying here in the United States have been revoked. We're going to get you the full breakdown on those numbers.
It means get people out that are in our country, get them out of here. I want to get them out. We got a lot of people in our country that shouldn't be here, and they came in through Biden, and he was the worst president in the history of our country. But the single biggest thing he did was allow millions of people into our country that shouldn't be here. Drug dealers, prisons were opened up and allowed to come into our country. You take a look at the people that were allowed to come into our country. We're paying a big price for it, and we will for years to come, including the recent killer of two wonderful National Guards people. And I'll tell you what, that animal should not have been allowed to come into our country.
President Trump is deporting these are liberal criticisms. President Trump is deporting garden variety illegal immigrants, not just those who've committed violent crimes. Surely that's not what you voted for. No, that's exactly what I voted for. Okay, well, now he's using drones to blow up narco terrorists in the Caribbean. Surely you didn't vote for that. Nope. Again, that makes me happy. Well, how about this? He's sending the National Guard to major cities to impose order. That's a posse comitatus violation. Surely you didn't vote for the precedent that sets. Yep, all of it. All of it. I voted for all of it 1,000 times over. My only.
So you can understand the sentiments of true-hearted, patriotic Americans. Let's hear from President Trump about birthright citizenship. Remember when you got a visa, especially if you're female, you got pregnant in your country and you waited until it's almost 3 months left for you to have babies. You come to the United States, you got a 6-month stay, and you'll have the baby here, and that baby become American citizen. The Supreme Court is now going to hear those cases. And what they're saying, according to the Constitution of the United States, if one parent is not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, then that child is not a citizen. Take it seriously because it's in the Constitution. So the Supreme Court is going to decide on this. And what I'm sure of, there's going to be some changes. So one of you has to be subject to the laws and the Constitution of the United States. One parent. Get yourself in line. Quick. It's going to change. They're going to list the oral arguments are in the summer of next year. That's 2026. Get yourself situated. If both parents are not subject to the laws and the jurisdiction of the United States, what do you think is going to happen? Think again. So let's look at another video regarding that, because the President Trump signed an executive order when he first got into office on January 20th to deal with this, and the Supreme Court is now going to hear oral arguments. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Check this out.
On the national scale, the Supreme Court is set to hear a case examining the legality of President Donald Trump's ban on birthright citizenship. The president took the step to end birthright citizenship on his very first day in office and has been met with legal pushback. Multiple judges have ruled that the president's order is blatantly unconstitutional. In June, a birthright citizenship case did reach the Supreme Court, but they only ruled in favor of Trump on the issue of nationwide injunctions, not on the policy itself.
So, what do you think?
Is Lynn.
What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think? Check this out. It's getting worse. And I'll show you how worse it's getting. If you think your country is not on this list, think again. Because what does it take to put you on the list? Let's check the crime statistics of the people who came from your country, wherever you are in the world, and came to the United States and committed a crime. Why wouldn't you be on the ban list? Let's see what's going on here. This is just the beginning. And let's listen to Attorney McBean for a second and see if you can understand what she's saying. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check this out.
According to a post on X by Christy Nome, she says, I just met with the president, full stop. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitled junkies. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unwielding love of freedom, not for foreign invaders to slaughter our.
Do you understand? The secretary, Christy Nome, used those languages? What do you think is going to happen moving forward? You think it's business as usual? Use your common sense here.
Heroes suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. All right, this is pretty big, right? And it sounds a little scary. We already have a travel ban of 19 countries, and the government had promised that they were going to do a review after a few months to see whether these.
Now I've heard that it's up to 30 countries. What do you think is going to happen moving forward? Let me tell you something. If you're here in the United States and you did some fraud to gain your citizenship, think again. You're going to be reviewed quick. So check this out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get another attorney on the line who will explain to you a couple of things. Here we go. Check this out.
These three mistakes are keeping immigrants broke and getting them deported. There's an IRS and ICE crackdown. I am your immigration attorney, Sekou Clark, and I have been seeing some wild things in 2025 and also some huge changes as well that you are fully aware of. But one massive change, which has been unprecedented, is ICE and the IRS. They're now sharing data. What does that mean? It means that the information that you submit to IRS, such as how much money that you've made, your social security number, your ITIN number, this is now shared with ICE. And guess what? Also where you work and where you live. But how is this dangerous? It is dangerous because it has been a long-term thing that IRS, they stay separate from other government entities, right? They keep your information private, right? If you hear somebody or see somebody guard their tax return for a reason, like they're guarding their firstborn, it is because it is such detailed and personal information. But guess what? It is no longer personal, especially if you have lost your status or you're in a pending status. Anything that IRS has, ICE will now get it. They will see where you were, how much money you earned, where you live, and it's no longer private. So how is this going to get you deported if you are an immigrant? Well, what I have seen happen is when you have an employer that hires an undocumented immigrant, who has an ITN, right? And one or two things happen. They do not provide the W-9. They do not provide the W-9, which is necessary if they are paying an immigrant who has an ITIN number. So the employer, right, they know you don't have a work permit, but what guards them is they can say, well, it's an independent contractor. They have their own business and they provided an ITIN number. But the issue now is if they do not provide a W-9 and IRS comes knocking on their door, they can say, I didn't know that they were illegal. I didn't know that they didn't have a work permit. They have a valid LLC, they have an ITIN number. It's not my responsibility because they're an independent contractor. When ICE starts putting pressure on them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to give ICE all your updated information, meaning they're going to give that employer, along with IRS, will now give ICE your exact location. That employer is going to tell ICE that, look, I don't want any problems, but this is the information that they gave me. This is where they're staying. This is where they frequent, and they are here illegally, even though that's not my problem, because they told me they were an independent contractor. I've seen it happen all the time. Huge issue going on, because guess what? ICE and IRS, they are now working together.
And you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. For those who come to the country and think they can circumvent the laws of the United States, think again, because this is not business as usual. You understand me? So let's listen to about things about dual citizenship. Even that is now a problem. If you continue to say, okay, I'm I've naturalized as a U.S. citizen, but I'm still keeping my citizenship to the country that I came from. And you're acting as if when you're in the United States, you're a United States citizen, and when you're in that country, you're that country's citizen. You pledge allegiance to the United States. That means you owe allegiance to the United States, not to any other country, because you swear allegiance and to the United States and no other country. So let's check this out. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen, because if you think it's business as usual, check again, because this is a game changer. Here we go. This is it.
A shift so serious, it could redefine your rights, your global tax responsibilities, and even the very way your American citizenship is interpreted under federal law. This isn't some minor policy tweak. This is a structural rewrite that could affect millions of Americans living overseas, travelers with multiple allegiances, and anyone who maintains deep ties to another nation. By the time you finish this video, you'll understand exactly what's coming, why it matters, and most importantly, what steps you must take immediately to protect yourself. So stay with me until the very end, because missing even one detail could cost you far more than you think. Hey everyone, welcome back to Legal Lens USA, your trusted source for breaking immigration updates, citizenship law analysis, and clear explanations of the policies shaping your future in America.
Are you looking to establish your business using an address other than your home? Wish you had a professional.
Here we go.
If you're new to the channel, we simplify complex legal changes so you can make smart, informed decisions without confusion or fear. Today's topic is extremely urgent. We're diving into sweeping new changes to dual citizenship regulations that the U.S. government is scheduled to roll out in December 2025. And let me be absolutely clear, these aren't small adjustments. These are deep structural shifts in how the United States views, manages, and monitors dual nationality. These changes touch everything: your tax filings, your foreign bank accounts, your passport renewals, your voting rights, your eligibility for federal employment, even how your loyalty to the United States is evaluated. Whether you were born a dual citizen, became one through naturalization, or you're thinking about acquiring citizenship in another country, this update affects you directly. I'll walk you through every major change step by step, translate the legal language into simple English, and give you practical actions you can take immediately. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any critical updates as December 2025 approaches. Now let me set the stage with some essential background. For decades, the United States has had what many experts call a contradictory or gray zone relationship with dual citizenship. The U.S. doesn't openly promote or encourage holding citizenship in multiple nations. In fact, the official stance has always leaned towards singular loyalty to the United States. Yet in practice, the U.S. government has tolerated dual nationality for years, sometimes intentionally, sometimes as a side effect of global mobility. Think about the naturalization oath. New citizens stand, raise their right hand, and declare that they renounce all allegiance to any foreign power. On paper, it sounds absolute, it sounds final, it sounds uncompromising. But in reality, the U.S. has not forced new citizens to surrender foreign passports, nor has it required them to formally terminate their other citizenships. Millions of naturalized Americans still hold dual passports, travel freely, and maintain rights in both nations. The same flexibility extends to people born with dual nationality, such as a child born in the U.S. to one American parent and one foreign parent. That child automatically becomes a dual citizen without any government challenge, and for decades, they've lived comfortably with two identities, two legal systems, and sometimes two homes. This broad tolerance created a huge population of Americans who built international lives, buying property overseas, investing in foreign companies, maintaining bank accounts abroad, pursuing careers across borders, or raising families who belong to more than one culture. But December 2025 changes everything. The era of flexibility is ending. The U.S. government has announced a complete overhaul of dual citizenship management, with stricter rules, tighter monitoring systems, and much harsher enforcement mechanisms. Why the dramatic shift? The government has listed several major reasons. 1. National security concerns. With rising global tensions and competing world powers, the government wants clearer insight into where dual citizens' loyalties lie, especially those working in sensitive or high-security roles. 2. Tax compliance and global asset transparency. The U.S. is one of the only countries that taxes citizens regardless of where they live. That means an American living in Paris, Melbourne, Seoul, or Dubai is still required to file U.S. taxes. Officials believe some dual citizens have used their second nationality to hide assets, obscure income, or avoid reporting foreign wealth. 3. Financial security and anti-money laundering efforts. The U.S. wants more information sharing with foreign governments, more tracking with international accounts, and stronger enforcement against money laundering and offshore tax evasion.
And that is a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. So take that for what it's worth. Let's dive in to a couple more videos, and I'm going to close the show. So check this out about the Supreme Court and about birthright citizenship. And I think I'll close it there. Here you go. Let's check this out. And I'm going to go
Trump being able to fire people, another win at the Supreme Court as they move forward on changing the birthright citizenship law. This is a huge blow to the Democrats, guys. Oh my goodness, what I love. Oh, when you hear this next part, illegal immigration has created essentially a permanent welfare class that costs the taxpayers about $150 billion annually while being technically ineligible for benefits. All that's about to go away, guys, because of the Supreme Court changing the rules, guys. I love this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you love this, hit the...
So if you think that's all, check out Brad Bernstein, what he has to say. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. About asylum victims. You think that's all that's going on here? It's not business as usual. Check out Brad Bernstein as he speaks on what's going on.
Going to adjudicate applications. They didn't say anything about not accepting them, so people can still file away. So if their goal is to shut down asylum or reduce the backlog, This is doing the absolute opposite. It adds to the backlog and keeps people here longer because nothing's being adjudicated. And here's the real twist. I think this policy benefits immigrants. Let me give you two examples. First, the person with the weak asylum case. They don't want to be interviewed. They're going to be denied and put in deportation and actually get deported if they have no other relief. So by not adjudicating weak asylum cases, you're keeping people here indefinitely. No interview, no deportation. And second scenario, what about the people with great asylum cases? You don't have to wait years and years and years. There's something called a mandamus. You get a good lawyer and sue the government, force them to do their job. They have to adjudicate your application in a reasonable amount of time, no matter what Trump says. And you get a federal judge to force the government to adjudicate your great asylum case. And you win. On both ends, weak cases, strong cases, immigrants win in this scenario.
So as you heard from Brad Bernstein, that's his take on what's going on here. And I had to show that side of the coin to show you that there's hope, even though I don't think so. But anyways, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, let's show you another video of some of the fraud scandals that's going on in the United States. And I'm going to close the show after that. So check this out as we share this with you. Here we go. Let's get this on the screen. There's a lot of fraud that's been going on in the United States. Fraud, waste, and abuse, and also criminal activities. It's widespread. And it's the president is acting on all to respond to all of this. Here we go. Let's check this out.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
I want to get your thoughts on this. This is a viral video of an Afghan and Iraq combat veteran who literally feels betrayed about what's happening. You know, it's one of the most powerful videos I've ever seen, I can honestly say. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. Hold on a second. I want to try to get this a little bit better cued here. Anyway, I'm going to play it for you in just a second and then get your thoughts on this, Stephen. This is one of the most powerful videos I've ever seen. Have you seen this video yet, Stephen?
I have not.
Okay, check it out.
Can't I settle back taxes with the IRS on my own? In deciding whether to negotiate back taxes on your own and deal with
skip that.
I just got done listening to Ilhan Omar talk about how horrible and terrible and dirty and everything else that this country is. Denigrating this country, denigrating half of the people in it. This country has been very kind, benevolent, and gracious to her and countless others. Field. I watched my son cry because he didn't know if or when he was going to see me again. And then I come home. I've been retired for 8 years. And I come home and what are we seeing? We're seeing entire communities being taken over by the very people that we fought to keep off of our shores. Dearborn Mission is completely freaking taken over. Now we have mosques in Minnesota, Texas, Missouri, all over the country. All over the country promoting Sharia law. Do we really have to tell people that Sharia law is incompatible with the United States Constitution? We were told.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I got to close the show now. So remember Cash Code on December 26th. And also, we have a big New Year's Eve event. And that's at Top Rock. And we got Dragon Force vying on January 3rd. So we say pray going out, pray coming in, and always remember, God is in control. I'll see you at the next show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. RAMP Promotions is at you.